There's a cable that was just released where there's a phone call between Assange and someone at the State Department. I don't know if you heard this, but he's like trying to explain to them time after time, like hundreds of times during this conversation, that there's someone who infiltrated or someone who is part of WikiLeaks who is no longer part of WikiLeaks, who is trying to reveal information. And he's really giving the State Department a heads up about this. So that they can react to certain things. And he's saying he's going to publish something else to maybe distract from it. And it's it's the opposite of careless or reckless. Mm-hmm. It's really, it's on I can find, I'll put a link to it.
Well, yeah. And in the trial, that of course was a, kangaroo court, but in the trial, it was made clear that the cables that were released that actually revealed names and were unredacted, it was due to the encryption code that the Guardian journalist published in his book. So it was not Assange that revealed that encryption code. It was the idiot Guardian journalist.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And again, right, if this is such treacherous material, if it's so dangerous, then shame on the New York Times, the Guardian, and everyone else who reported on it, right? Like, again, just be consistent and pick a narrative.
And the irony of it all too is like they call Assange, they accuse him of like working with Russia to meddle in America, but like WikiLeaks cables, I really encourage people who haven't actually ever looked at them before to just go play around and look, because
or get the book, the WikiLeaks files, the book.
Yeah, because what's amazing about the cables is it's basically, especially the State Department cables, is it's basically all these ambassadors and their staff have to report everything they do, all the people they meet with and see in the countries that they work in. And so in a country, for example, like Lebanon, since that's where I live and I look at a lot of the cables in Lebanon, you can see like how in these years where there was like a conflict, the U.S. is advising certain political parties inside Lebanon or meeting with them or telling them exactly what to do. They're like little puppets. Like these cables show and reveal the extent and arrogance of U.S. meddling in countries all over the world. Like, you guys, we think that Russia meddled in America. The U.S. literally funds and provides advisors to political parties and countries where it wants to influence them. Like, it would be like Russia or China funding and advising like a political party in the U.S. That's how insane that is. And that's what the U.S. has all around the world. And that's what WikiLeaks reveals. And that's why Julian Assange has to be destroyed, because that's embarrassing. Like, on top of the war crimes that it reveals, and just the corruption and just criminal behavior, it's embarrassing for the U.S., for the world to see just how crass and like puppeteering they are in all of these countries around the world.
Yeah. And also just wanted to say that the thing I was referring to is he's literally in this leaked or this unredacted cable that's now available in audio and video. He's basically trying to warn the Clinton the State Department under Clinton. He was trying to mitigate the damage of unintentional, like of a dump that was going to happen, a data dump that was going to happen, that he had not engaged in. So again, like, this is not someone who's sloppy or putting people's lives at risk. In fact, it was Hillary Clinton's State Department that ignored it. So that's always that's really an interesting thing to note.
Well, it's like every criticism the corporate media has on Julian Assange it's just like classic projection. Like, oh, well, he's careless. The guy who doesn't divulge sources and never had to retract a document, that's the careless guy. Let's look at y'all's track record. How are you guys doing? You've never had to retract anything, except you do every freaking day. Like, oh, they don't
retract it. That's the worst part of. That's even worse.
Sometimes they don't. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, it's like, oh, well, he's interfering. He's meddling. It's like we meddle all around the world. In fact, there was that study that revealed the institution that has meddled the most around the world is the CIA. They've meddled in elections around the world.
That sounds like Russian propaganda, Ron.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can.
That sounds Russian-y.
That sort of
Russian-y as
the Lee camp Putin.
I know that sounds hammy. Yeah. Are you a campionist? Are you a campinist?
The Camp Putin industrial complex.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm a camp stooge. The other thing I just wanted to bring up is the fact that, this is really important. You know how everyone talks about Podesta being hacked? This is one of the funniest things. He was the victim of phishing. He literally was asked to give his password. And he then emailed like a cybersecurity person and is like,
he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, and he goes, should I give my password? And the guy is like, definitely do. He meant definitely do not. And then the guy did it. And I think am I right that his password was actually password?
Wait, that sounds
I don't remember that part.
But the other part, right?
I know the story. I know it was phishing. Yeah, he was.
It's unbelievable.
He was just
no one ever talks about that.
The email just said your account may have been, corrupted or whatever. Send us your password, and he was like, "All right."
Yeah, and
it all started when I was trying to help out a Nigerian prince. I'm trying to do the right thing. I was supposed to get $5,000 back, and it didn't work out, and now it's a mess. We got to pin this on somebody else.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about. I did not know John Podesta gave his password.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. What an idiot. Like he asked
they should have
for
blamed
it.
him for Trump's win if they were gonna do that.
Yeah. That's the best thing I've heard ever. Yeah, we should lock up John Podesta.
It was password, guys. His password was password.
I had heard that.
I mean, look, I haven't
so
fact checked this source, but it looks like someone checked it.
Yeah.
What an idiot!
1 second.
Oh
I have
my
to
God.
adjust my headphones.
They have to prosecute Assange to like cover up how stupid they are.
Right.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we were talking about this very early on. I think people are under the misconception that this prosecution of Assange is related to the 2016, the exposure of those emails. And that has nothing to do with what this is about. But they are trying to get him for being the hacker and encouraging Chelsea Manning to actually do the hacking as if that was his job to do. And so that's the basis of everything. So, interestingly, the 2016, according to this, he could have it was just given to him because someone gave away their password.
Yeah, nobody hacked him. He was like, he hacked himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're acting like he told Chelsea Manning how to hack in, but it was stuff she had access to anyway. All he was doing is helping her cover her tracks, which is for a journalist standard procedure. Like, here's how to safely give me the information that you have approached me with.
Yeah, which is what was done.
Chelsea Manning was caught because of like an informant.
I mean,
and then
that's
put
the
in
only
solitary confinement, by the way, as punishment for her being suicidal. Which, if you for any minute have any faith in the criminal justice system, just know that is considered an appropriate way to deal with someone suicidal, is by putting them into conditions that the UN has declared torture.
Which is what they do.
Well, they wanted
Assange too.
Yeah. Well, they wanted to get a confession. They wanted to get a confession out of her. That they wanted Chelsea Manning to say, like, yeah, Julian Assange helped me hack, because that's the only way they have. I mean, the charges are so beyond bogus that there's not a word in the English language for how ridiculous they are. But that's still the only shred they're hanging on to, because just getting information from a source, well, that's not, a journalist can do that. And even saying, hey, this is good, can you get me more of this? A journalist can do that. If he actually helped her hack, okay, well, that's different, but there's no evidence whatsoever that he did that. So they're trying to force this confession out of her that she hasn't given, probably because it's not true.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.